Hey, welcome back to another episode of the SurgeCast. And how you doing today, Zach?
I'm doing good. It's great to be back. I know I missed the last couple weeks, and I know you guys been itching to give me grief. But it's always good to be back, especially talking about our Carolina Hurricanes, especially on the SurgeCast. But how are you doing today, Kat?
I'm doing pretty well. Still reeling. We're going to talk about it here, but still reeling from that Dallas game. Honestly,
Oh yeah.
as we get into, of course, Thanksgiving week, that was one thing you really, as a Canes fan, wanted to be thankful for. But yeah, as everyone can tell too, we're doing a little switcheroo this week. We've got Zach back, but Bailey's not here.
Go figure, right? Like I missed the last 2
Eventually,
weeks.
eventually we'll have all three of us again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been since the last episode, it's been a little interesting time being a Canes fan. I feel like the last couple of times I've been like, it's a good day to be a Canes fan. And I feel like this week there's a little bit of test to that.
Yeah, to say the least.
But of course, so I have again lots of things to say about the Dallas game, but we first need to start with the Metro road trip. We had Philadelphia, New Jersey, and Columbus. I do know you guys can all say it. My predictions were wrong. Well, the Philadelphia was right. Not so much with the New Jersey Devils. It kind of went the way that Bailey said. And then Columbus was, what are you gonna do?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you take it 3 out of a possible 6. I mean, hey, it is what it is. It's better than just taking only 2. The Jackets that week. I mean, it was, I forget what other game it was. I think it was Tampa, where they won like 7-6 in overtime. So I mean, that was just a week where it's like everything came up Columbus's way. Zach Werenski with 5 points. I mean, that dude was on a mission that night. So, and of course, Pierre gets hurt and everything else like that too. That was just, for whatever reason, Kat, I don't know why the last like 2 or 3 seasons, ever since what was it, the 7-goal game we had on New Year's Day, we were down like what 3 or 4 goals and absolutely just went off for like 7 in a row or something. That that New Year's Day game we had where Jalen Chatfield got a goal and it's just like it just started an entire run.
Mm-hmm.
Like ever since that game, every time we play Columbus, it's always a weird game. Like if it's at if it's at Lenovo or if it's at Nationwide, somehow it's always against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Every game is weird. Like they're always high scoring. Something weird happens, and this is just one of those games where it's like every time the Canes tied it, immediately give a goal back up. But and then they get a lead, and then they blow with like less than a minute left, and then you go to a shootout, and now you're down to your third string goalie again for the second time. It's just Saturday was a weird day.
Saturday was weird. I'll be really honest. I didn't see a lot of that game. I was at a Friendsgiving. So mostly I just saw the score keep flipping. I got distracted by the time it was us up for, I think, 4-3, 3-4.
Yeah, it was 4. Yeah, we were up 4-3. They tied 4-4 with Marchenko's second of the game, like with less than a minute left. It was a 6-on-5. And
I would say the things that I dislike, I know are talking about likes and dislikes from those 3 games. Mm-hmm. I know we can do general likes and dislikes. I will say from the Columbus game gave me some dislikes of what are we going to do now that we're, down to our third string goalie. Mm-hmm. But honestly, the big dislike from that one is the shootout. You need to have one of those guys. Like, yes, Martin came in cold, but like one of your guys has to cash in. One of your big names has to cash in on one of those, and we went 3 down.
Because it was like Aho and Svechnikov didn't do anything. Yeah, Nietzsche's. And the thing is, like Aho did almost the exact same shot as Svechnikov did. It was just kind of like it was the most 3 pedestrian like shootout attempts I've ever seen from the Hurricanes. Like it made no sense. And of course the one guy who made it was Sean Monahan. Like that was it for Columbus.
Which he's again, we talked about Bailey. He's playing for something else. So good. For him.
Yeah, no. I'm not upset
good
about
for
that.
him.
I like Sean Monahan, and definitely what he's doing. Like you couldn't happen to a better guy. Just unfortunately, was to the wrong team because we don't want him to do it against against the Hurricanes. But if it had to be someone, had to be Sean Monahan. But yeah, that shootout was just absolutely brutal. And like I said, I say my dislikes was giving up goals way too quickly after tying it up. Like you had to come back 3 times to tie that game up,
Which,
and then you finally get a lead, and then you give up another goal. Like they could never maintain a tight game. They always give it away with 2-3 minutes later. It's just they never found a way to just take control. It was always we tied it, and now it's Columbus again. It's just I don't know. It was. My major dislike was the fact that just structurally they were a leaky damn waiting to happen. Unfortunately, that's just what happened. And you got a point out of it, but I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah. I would say we got to see a more healthy New Jersey Devils team that definitely is showing why they're first in the Metro right now. Like they're burning the oils, man. They are, and unfortunately, we have to see Papa Pesci's tweets about them now. But they seem to be firing on all cylinders.
Of course, Stephanie said had to score against us because why not? And Doug
really
Hamilton too.
It really was the former Canes against us.
Yep.
I will say a positive, a like that I've seen from all of these games. I mean, Philadelphia, we really didn't have that many opportunities. But we were doing, I would say our power play has been doing pretty dang well.
Still top 5 in the league. So, I mean, you'll take it. So
most of the time, if we at least get penalty calls for us, we're at least scoring.
Oh, yes. Trust me. We're definitely going to talk about that nonsense. It was the Dallas game in terms of power plays. But yes.
Well, also the nonsense
we do get chances.
But I will also say the nonsense of also that is the Philadelphia game. You're telling me we only had 1 power play against a Philadelphia Flyers team? Like, really? So... thankfully we came out. I would say those are my likes and dislikes. I know our unpaid intern also mentioned, honestly, I didn't even remember this at first because I feel like it's happened so much that I've lost track of what games they happened. But being down 5-on-3 kind of like
way too much.
Sucks ice.
I think we've had 7 or 8 of those chances against us, and I think we've given up 5. And I think the next worst team is like 2.
Well,
like, we are like.
Our penalty kill is great. Our penalty kill is great. Our penalty kill 5-on-3? No. So that makes the stat mess up because you're like, well, yeah, everyone's worse when you're up 2 players against you. Like what? After a while, like something's gonna slip in.
It is an unsettling trend that I hope it's not the new normal, because if this is what we're gonna look at all season, where it's consistently almost at least once a week we're going on a 5-on-3, give the goal to the other team. Like I don't even want to watch it happen because it just sucks. Because this is a consistent thing. Like I said, we've been on the short end of that 7 or 8 times already. We've given up 5 goals on the 5-on-3. Like they said, next best is 2. It's tough.
I think what bothers me about it is that, and I'm not saying we don't commit penalties, because there are definitely times this season I'm like, guys, we are committing too many penalties. I don't know what the penalty bug is going on. And it's not just Fetch. I know everyone says it's Fetch, not just Fetch. Also, Fetch has been called for some things that are nothing. But
you mean trips that weren't even trips? Guys are just falling over themselves and they call it a trip apparently because it's that
or just bumping into them, and it's like, okay, well, sorry, that man's core strength is terrible. But anyway, the
5-on-3s for being too strong.
The thing that bothers me with some of the 5-on-3s is the first penalty in a game that probably that penalty hasn't been called, and then we get called and it's a soft penalty. Sometimes it's not even a penalty. And you're like, oh, okay, we'll have to kill it. And then another penalty occurs. So it's like, well, if you didn't call the terrible first call, then then this other penalty wouldn't occur. So that's the annoyance for me. It's like, yes, you're more disciplined by the guys, but at the same time, it's like, this wouldn't be happening if you didn't blow the whistle on something that shouldn't have had the whistle blown on it, or should have been blown on the other team at one point during the game. So
it sucks when it's like, let's say like a delayed game, pug over the glass penalty, or if it's we'll talk about during the Dallas game, 2 bench minors. Like it's just weird.
I have other thoughts on those bench minors though. But.
We'll talk about that for sure. But then, or like you said, or you get one of those weird penalties where it's like you get a tic-tac call against you, and then it's one where it's like, okay, that makes sense, but now you're kind of stuck with the 5-on-3. It always seems like every time we get onto a 5-on-3, it's always a compound of just bad things happening in a row, where it's like, okay, well, we're going to challenge this goal. Great. Now you're down a man. And then while you're down a man, like you said, boom, here's another penalty.
But it's also worse on the 5-on-3 is if you get scored on the 5-on-3, you're still stuck on the penalty kill for the next one.
Oh, you mean where like we should have been on a 5-on-4 and the goal should have counted to where it was okay, Jordan Stahl's out of the box and we're back to even strength. Oh, but no, they score with a second left on the Shane Goss spare penalty, so you're still on a 5-on-4. Yeah, it's just and then it just all it does is kill momentum because you see the Hurricanes, as always, they're a great 5-on-5 team. But when you start doing these stop starts or calling all these penalties and the Hurricanes are consistent on a penalty kill, you're not seeing them hit their stride. And that's the thing that's always a killer because if you're on the penalty kill 4, 5, 6 times a game, you are never going to see what a full Hurricanes team at its strength is because you're consistently having to chase, dump and chase, fight the puck every time now because find someone and have to, and it's just not beneficial to you. That's just the bad part of it. Sometimes when you're in that type of game where you're just chasing the entire time, and unfortunately, it's happened a lot this year. And I'm like I said, hopefully, Kat, maybe this ends in November and the rest of the season we don't see this because if this is a continuous trend all year, oh boy, buckle up for 5-on-3. Going to be brutal to watch.
Just keep an eye on Jacob Slavin's ice time.
27 minutes, 28 minutes late. Wow, why is Jacob Slavin was playing a half an hour? Well, you see what happened was.
So I will say the penalty kill and the power play are both positives from those games. I would say even the ability of the guys to get into the game, and even on like the Columbus game where you're kind of going back and forth with the scoring, they never really gave up. Unfortunately, they gave up some on the defensive end so that Columbus could get back into it, but they were always ready to get back and score another one. So that's a thing that I've said before about the Canes team this season is you don't see them getting down when they're down a goal. Like they're going to keep trying. They give just as much effort.
Oh yeah,
and
100%. But
as long as you give me effort and you're trying, sometimes the puck isn't going to go your way, but the effort by this team, you can't say they're not giving it their all.
Oh no, 100%. You saw it against Dallas. Like it was one of those games. Yeah, well, like we'll talk more about it, but like there's no like you see it against what the New York Rangers did against the who did they play recently? It was Buffalo. St. Louis. They're down like 4-1 or something like that, and you just see that. And you see a guy from the Blues just win a face-off in the defensive zone, and just immediately just bucked it down the ice. And like guys just gave up. Like that's not the Hurricanes. They're not going to just roll over and just not do their job. Like they're going to come at you in waves. And that's the thing that you're not getting the Dark Ages Canes where you can just tell that they just did not care. At least with this team, you're seeing a team that you could just never count them out, and they'll always find a way to fight back in these games. So yeah, at least we're getting that. At least we're getting a full effort every single night. And it's not just you're phoning it in, which is good to see. But if the structure isn't there, then that sucks when it's like you should be putting – there's been a couple games this year where it's like you should have put these guys away or you should have beaten this team because they are not that good. But either you got trapped or you let them stay in the game too long or you just didn't close it or you should have kept your foot on the gas. It's just whatever reason against bad teams, the Hurricanes, for whatever reason, just – sometimes let the bad team stay in them when they don't need to. And they got to just keep the foot on the gas and just go for the kill shot and end it. But I don't know. There's some good, there's some bad takeaways from last week, but
it's a little harder.
3 out of 6.
Yeah, it's a little harder because it's it's your metro team, so you're trying to you really got to get points from those guys.
Well, especially the Devils when yes, you have games in hand on New Jersey, and they're you're still within striking distance, or usually you are first by point percentage. But yeah, you would love to get wins on those guys because those are going to add up at the end of the season. But luckily, it's still early enough where it's not too bad.
100%.
Yeah.
But now the time that everyone wants, I'm ready to talk about it. As I tweeted before, I'm about to be pretty insufferable for this moment. The Canes versus Dallas. I'm just going to say, because I said it last week, I said it this week, leading up to the game. And even when I saw the lines come out, the projected lines come out, I said, put Jarvis with Aho. Put Jarvis with Aho. Do it. Please, just for the love of God, put them together and see what happens. And I just want to say Canes versus Dallas, example A. And guys,
later on in the game, not the start of the game, later on in the game.
No, the start of the game. The first goal came from Jarvis and Aho together.
Shorthanded, but yes, I get your
on
point.
The ice together.
Yes. Starting
Zach,
lines, no, he was on the second line,
but
yes.
On the ice together.
Yes, I agree with you. Yes,
okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm very proud of this because I know a lot of people were saying, well, he put Jarvis down on that third line, and that's fine. Jarvis can play anywhere, and I know a lot of people were.
Him and Aho, we saw how good it was last year. It makes sense.
Well, so without having Tavo up on that line and not having Gensel up on that line, Svetch and Aho have played fine together. They've played fine. They don't have that chemistry because Svetch is a power forward and he's not a distributor type player. Yes, he can be in times, but that man bullies his way to the front of the net, or he's taking hard shots. He's doing all that, but he's not a pass, like a very nice through the leg. Like the passes aren't the same as what you're going to get from a Teuvo Teravainen or a Seth Jarvis. They're just not, and it's not anything against Svetch, but you're also not getting that from Roslovic. I know a lot of people, oh my gosh, the thing about Roslovic, listen, Roslovic is on a heater. Roslovic can do everything. But a lot of people, like I've heard a lot of people say too, if you watch the Columbus game, Roslovic is also a little bit of a puck hog. Again, I compared him in the beginning of the season. Him and Natchez play a little bit similar. I will say he's more of Natchez of the past than he is of Natchez now. But if you're saying a guy's a little bit of a puck hog and also a little bit of a shoot first mentality, what is that with Aho? You've got two guys that aren't going to get him those passes. And so it turns him into the distributor. I'm not saying that's against his game. Like he's quietly racking up the assists, all of that. But if you also watch, there's times where Aho looked a little lost this season. You're saying, oh, well, he normally has a slow start. Yes, he normally has a slow start, but I've never seen Aho not take shots the way he's not taking shots this season. Like you can just see it's not like he's not hitting the net. It's not like he's giving all these efforts. It's not like he's snake bit. It looks like he's second guessing how he's playing on the ice, which is not a normal slow start for Aho. He's normally one of the more confident players on the ice, no matter what.
Yeah.
So my point on Roslovic's hot start, and it's not even Roslovic. I also think with Natchez, I think with them having hot starts has kind of, and it's not, I say detriment, but it's not like I wish they would not do well. I want them to do well. And I like how they're on these heaters, and which is also why the lines have probably stayed the way they've been. But because they're doing so well, it kind of Aho's been stuck because you're not going to, we weren't thinking you were going to change that second line because keep Natchez on his heater. Like, why would you don't fix what's not broke. Why would you change that first line if Roslovic's doing so well? Well, also my point was Roslovic's doing so well, but you're getting less from Aho and Svetch than you probably should be. So maybe that's the line you want to tinker with. That's what my point was for everyone that was like, well, Aho should play better. Listen, McDavid and Draisaitl don't always play. They don't play on the same. I think they don't play on the same line right now. They've played on the same line
usually
before,
no.
But usually no. But
most on the power play they do, but usually no, because it's just they want to try to even out the lines,
even out the strength, and they change who plays with them because people have different chemistry with people. Like you might be the best player in the league, but if you don't play super well with someone, like even if you're both super great at hockey, sometimes you're just not in sync. It's a thing. Chemistry is a big thing. So, I mean, we've seen it defensively last season. I don't even want to talk about it. But that is my big point is that's why I said put Jarvis with Aho. Like I know at the beginning of the season we saw Jarvis with Aho for a second and then we changed it. I think Jarvis is in his game. He's full confident. Like he is so, and Aho needs that. And he needs that familiarity of being with someone he's played with, someone he knows can get him those passes. That's why they they got put together and they popped off in the Dallas game. They fed each other and they were both able to read their passes and put those goals away. Like, it was beautiful. So
I mean, heck, you combined 7 points and smash out of 4. Seth, I mean, welcome back, Seth Jarvis. They were even a 3-point game.
Welcome back, Seth Jarvis.
14 points in 14 games. Not bad. Not bad at all.
His quote at the end of the game, we were listening to it when they were interviewing it, but Ryan Hinkle also put it up there. But they were like, "Oh yeah, like you were able to knock down the puck, start the rush up the ice, corral the puck, and score." If you don't listen to Seth Jarvis interviews, you should, because this man goes, "Oh, sometimes I surprise myself. I got a little bit of skill deep down."
Yeah, safe to say for the guy who had a career year last year with a bum shoulder and everything else. Yeah, this kid's just electric. Like,
and they literally asked Rod, they said, "How did you get back into the game?" And he responded, one word answer, Jarvis. He's like, Jarvis single-handedly pulled that team back together so that they could get into that third period and go.
He even said he was our best player. And I said this on Locked on Hurricanes. You could definitely tell that this team missed Seth Jarvis. Yes, they did win games without him because he did miss like 8 games so far this year. Yes, they were winning, but you could definitely tell when he's not specifically in this lineup, you can tell that there's something missing on this team.
Well, I'm going to say when he was gone, no offense to Blake, because Blake filled his spot.
I thought Blake was doing fine. But you said Seth Jarvis.
Blake did fine, but the power play wasn't the same dynamic power play that it was with Jarvis.
Oh, you mean where they go 2 for 2 on the power play, penalty kill goes for 3 for 3. Oh, and you get a shorthanded marker. Thank you to one Seth Jarvis. Yeah, in terms of special teams, the Hurricanes were a +7 on special, because I do this like how are you on the PK? How are you on the power play? You know, what's your plus minus in terms of goals given up? You know, not goals. Do you get shorties? Yeah, they were a +7. 3 for 3 on the penalty kill, 2 for 2 on the power play. And then you get a shorty. Like, you will easily take that. That's just how good they were that night. And like I said, Seth Jarvis coming back into this line, it takes it to another level because he is a spark on no matter what line he's on. Because Rod Brind'Amour said it. I can put anyone with anyone and everyone can play together. That's the great about this Hurricanes team that you don't see with anyone else is team versatility, not a couple guys or like a certain line. It's a whole team versatility. But Seth Jarvis is I think Seth Jarvis is the guy that you can plug and play anywhere in this lineup.
He's the.
That's why you see like a line that pops
definition
off.
Of that, yes, I would say Jarvis.
Yeah, because you get the Jordans, the top line, the fourth line, anywhere, special teams, anywhere. Seth Jarvis is that guy who's going to pop off whatever line's going on because it's him.
And speaking of that, I would say Jarvis is the definition of that. I would say, because we'll talk a little bit. We saw the most Rod Brind'Amour lines this game. I do love
you should see. We'll go over the practice lines here in a bit too. There are some practice lines from today too. We'll talk about as well.
I do love that Brind'Amour said, "I had one line I kind of liked the whole game." Do you know what line he was talking about? I knew exactly before he didn't even say the line, but I knew what it was. Did you know? If I said that, Zach, what would you say?
Oh, the one line.
I had one line I kind of liked the whole game.
What line would that be, Kat?
No, you give me your guess. I knew when he said it, and then I got the actual like what line it was, but I knew when he said it. What would your guess be?
Jarvis, Aho, and Blake. I would have to assume. Couldn't tell you.
No, because that was a switch line. The one line that stayed the same the whole night.
Oh,
the Jordan line, the Rod Brind'Amour special.
Yep, the Jordans
the whole night, and he was bragging on them hard. They were putting in the work all night.
I should have said that. I'm like, that's too easy of an answer. I should have went with the gut answer of of course it's the Jordans with Carrier.
Well, so Aho and Jarvis popped off, but I would say the Jordan line kept us in it the whole game.
As they always do. I mean, shocker and a half. Like, oh no, the Jordans did something. The Jordan line.
We're gonna have to change Carrier's name to Jordan because. I feel like I'm not meaning to leave him out, but it is the Jordan line. Like it's always.
He could be the carrier of the Jordans. I mean, just why not?
JJC.
I don't know. I mean, heck, they had the BBC line of Battaglia, Brind'Amour, and Cole. So I mean, you can figure something out. the CMS line, the MSC line. I don't know. We'll figure something out.
I will say, so with these lines, I was not a fan, and this is where it was tricky last episode we talked about too. I was not a fan that we changed the second line because, in my opinion, the second line with Robinson and KK and Natchez have been the best line this season so far. Because, like I said, Svech was kind of hot at times. Aho, lukewarm for Aho standards. Roslovic had his bursts. But the second line was our big scoring line. Our second line has been on fire. I didn't like that we changed it after the Columbus game for the reason of, I know KK had a bad game in Columbus. I don't really think it felt like a message that this was like, you mess up, you're getting, and again, he doesn't really number his lines. It felt, for any other coach, it would feel like we're pushing you down because you made these mistakes, which isn't really fair because other players have done that and not received that.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I do think in terms of what Rod was doing, because knowing Rod compared to other coaches, yes, if it was Torts and Philadelphia and you got that demotion, you'd either be benched or that would be exactly why you're moved down. I would say more for Brind'Amour, that was probably because of how well Drury has been playing, that he wanted to give him more of an opportunity.
Yeah, I think last night at one point against Dallas, he was like 71% in the faceoff. Like he was winning every faceoff battle.
And Jarvis started with that line. Again, I was like, this might be also because we're trying to put Jarvis in, like fit him back into the lineup. I personally, and I'm saying this because last week I said put Jarvis with Aho, and I'm stand by it. I was very glad when he moved Jarvis to Aho's line. And for a second, I think Roslovic was with them, and then they even changed it and they put Blake up there, which I loved even more because that gave you such a big dynamic up there. Blake deserved that opportunity.
He's been playing really well this year. And when I know Shane Willis says he's talked to Brind'Amour, and Brind'Amour's like, I got to figure out how to put this guy on the ice and try to give him more opportunities. So that's really saying something for how good Jackson Blake is doing this year, for the fact that you have the head coach going like, I got to find time to get this guy on the ice. That's the problem. I'm trying to get him on.
He's played so well. And the thing is, the way that Drury has been playing with Blake, I think that was also the idea of Jarvis and Aho are also guys that are going to feed him the way Drury does. Like they're going to really complement his skills. So I really like, and that line was great. And poor Blake hit it off the post, unfortunately. But I feel like in the beginning of the game, when they changed up that line until the overtime, not the overtime, but until that last ricochet of a goal, I don't think Natchez was the Natchez that we have been seeing this season. I think because he definitely he held the puck a little bit too long. He did some not so great passes, and I feel like he had less confidence. And
I think the whole team in general is just that. I was posting it all last night. This team looked uncomfortable. They looked scattered. Momentum was not there.
I will stand and die on this hill. I personally believe we had those too many men on the ice penalties because the lines were so different than what they had been used to for so long now.
Well, they were, and the fact is though too, that's too many men penalties. They had two of them that night. Mm-hmm. You only seem to even have one for games on end, and let's be honest, the refs were an absolute joke all night. I don't usually try to blame the referees that much, but the fact that you missed 3 stars penalties, you're talking Sheffield gets high sticked, someone else, I think Ghost gets tripped, someone else gets hooked, but you call 2 bench minors and a third penalty, I forget which one it was, and the Hurricanes got their first power play in the third period when Dallas had 3 in a row, and 2 of them were bench minors. Like, the Hurricanes couldn't, A, buy momentum, B, couldn't buy a power play. Like, there was literally a time in the game where Aho gets tripped, a ref's arm's in the air. Tripp even said, he's like, how's there no call? His arm was in the air. Like, they could, even Tripp was like, they can't buy the power play at this point. And that was just the bad. Like I said, I try not to blend the refs too much because it is a hard game to call. But when you are deliberately missing three penalties at least on Dallas, and you're calling everything on Carolina to where every time the Hurricanes had the puck or even tried to get a zone entry or do anything in the corners, there was always a stop. And I'm on Blue Sky. I think some of us are. I don't know if everyone is. I know you and me are at least. On Blue Sky, I'm going like, the Hurricanes can't get momentum. They just can't find any momentum in this game. And Wade Minter even said, yeah, we were talking about on their production channel that there's a lot of stop starts in this game. And
there was a lot of stop starts. There too many men. There was a lot of icings. There was
the Canes could not gain momentum, and that's why they got like hindered to their zone so much, is because every time they tried, whistle. Like they said, momentum was just not there for pretty much 2 periods. Yeah. And then when you finally got, oh hey, we're gonna let this game run and just do what we usually like how the game's supposed to be, you saw them get 5 goals in the third period. Because wait, that's right. The refs weren't blowing the whistle every 30 seconds.
And I don't want to. And Rod's quote about it, where he said it was a weird night that way. I'll just leave it at that. It's not worth talking about, but it was strange. And it's like more like, I can't say anything because I'll be fined. But I will say the refereeing was weird, because I definitely at one point looked up and I was like, have we even had any penalties our way? Like and nope.
We didn't get a power play.
3-0 at one point. And I was
we didn't get a power play till the third. We didn't get until the third period. We had 2. And
so
we cashed on both of them. But yeah, we had no power plays.
So I definitely the unpaid intern was chirping the refs quite a bit.
I'm so proud of him. So proud of him.
But so I will say I did notice that. I will say I noticed, yes, the team, like, we couldn't get that going, but I also noticed the team looked uncomfortable, which I would say, I want to say is a little bit on the change up in lines. Like, I'm not going to lie. The only line that wasn't touched was the Jordan line. And that was the line that was on all night. And listen, Rod Blinamore, it's fine. I just feel like we have gone so many games with the same that, I mean, it'd take anybody a second to like be like, whoa, okay, we're back. I just personally, like I said last week, I wanted to get Jarvis in. I didn't know how the lines would go, but I was not going to, I wouldn't have touched that second line, because you got a player that's hot. And honestly, he's more confident than he was last season. And I also think that's a little bit from having stable line mates. They just didn't have super stable line mates last season. And I think he was bragging on Robinson, and he was talking about how his line mates were doing so well and they could do it all and he could rely on them. So not to say like, having Jarvis and having they're both talented players. I just think Nate just likes consistency, and to have him with those guys, I would have kept it as it was. And honestly, yeah, if you need to move Svetch, if you need to move Roslick around, sure. But like, don't fully change that second line, because again, until that weird ricochet goal at the end by Natchez wasn't. I saw glimpses of old unsure Natchez, and I didn't like it, and I felt like that was a little bit of like, I think we messed with something we shouldn't have messed with. Whereas we added Jarvis to Aho, and we helped something that needed help, and that was my whole dilemma last episode, Zach, when I was talking with Bailey. Is it's really hard with these lines, because to get Aho going, you don't want to mess with anything that's going on with Natchez. And it felt a little bit like this game. You got Aho going, and then Natchez got a little bit of like, they couldn't be going together at the same game for some reason.
I totally understand where you're coming from. I think the problem is the fact that you need Jarvis on that top 6, but the problem is Roslovic is playing good to the point where it's like, you really don't want to take him out of there. But it's also like, and for me, I
still think with the way Roslovic plays, I feel like he could easily be on that fourth line and be just as useful. Like, he doesn't. It depends how the lines play, right? Like, Rod doesn't like super limit their time. He's like, if you're playing well, I'm gonna.
It's pretty even. It's pretty even.
So the fourth line isn't a bad thing especially if he's that shoot first mentality. He's still gonna get those chances.
Yeah, because I know we'll talk about the practice lines from earlier today, or Tuesday, whenever everyone's listening on Wednesday, so we're talking Tuesday morning. The thing for me, it's like I would love to see. Yeah, you want Jarvis on that top line with Aho. It's just at the same time, it's like, okay, what are you gonna do with Roslovic? And then it's Svechnikov. If you take Svech off the top line, you got to put him on the second line. But it's kind of at the same time, it's like it's a weird place to be in where you have a guy who's playing so good in Roslovic, but at the same time, it's like, how is a line of Svech, Aho, and Jarvis going to be? Because you don't really see that line together very much, and I feel like that's almost you would consider it almost as too top heavy of a first line, but it's kind of like who's the what in that scenario.
I don't think Svech plays. I think Jarvis can play with both. I don't know if Svech and Aho play super well together. I don't think they read the plays the same way.
They really, to be honest with you, Kat, the last couple of years I've seen them play together. When they have, they just don't, for whatever reason, it's just, they don't mix.
They don't read the plays the same way. I think Aho,
a power forward in Svech does not play well with a guy like Aho is more of a playmaker, where you have Jarvis, who's a two-way forward unicorn of I can pretty much play whatever. He's a
mix up of nabs, mustaches, and two-way hockey.
He's a two-way sniper playmaker, like whatever thing you would put from NHL 25 in, that's what he is. He's basically everything. I guess he's a unicorn at this point. But you have a power forward in Svech who's with a playmaker like Aho. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I just feel like whatever reason, it's just those two have never really mixed ever in Carolina. That's why you never really see them together. And I feel like even if you put Jarvis on that line with those two, I just don't know if it's a line that works. And then you got to figure where you're going to put Svechnikov. Well, you don't want to put him in the bottom six because he's too good. But at the same time, like you said, now you're having to move Robinson.
You could put him with Natchez, but Natchez said he works really well with Robinson because Robinson is also
the speed on speed. It's the speed on both sides of that work.
But I say Robinson's a speed on speed, but he's a little bit bigger player than Jarvis, but he plays a similar game of like he's everywhere. Like he's two-way, he's back and forth, he's everywhere. And he's got that heaviness of Svech with Jarvis. And so you're like, that goes really well with Natchez because he can keep up with him, but he's also going to be that physical presence and those passes that he needs. And you're like, well, then it's difficult.
Okay, then what? Third line Svechnikov with the Jordans. I mean, that wouldn't be terrible.
That wasn't bad. They had that at one point when some of these games, and it wasn't terrible. I just love Carrier with that line.
That's just
that's like a menace. Like I literally think that people I think other players see that line get on and they're just absolutely are like shitting themselves because they just know that no matter what they're gonna be pounded into the boards. They're gonna be like, oh, this is easy, Claire. Bam. Like they're just like, it's nonstop pressure, nonstop, like in your face. Like, can I just breathe? And they're like, no, you're not. And then we might score on you too, by the way.
Yeah, that's just the thing. And like then it's like, okay, you don't want to put Svech on the fourth line. It's just it's a good thing to have depth scoring, but it's also bad too when Roslovic is on a heater like he is. So you really can't get rid of him on the top line because he's got sneaky speed that works. But then it's like, okay, what are you gonna do with Svechnikov? Well, you put him on the second line. Okay, yeah, but now you're moving Robinson.
Roslovic was on the fourth line at one point in the Dallas game. He was there with KK and Robinson, which again wasn't bad, but I don't know. It's very there's too much wealth to go around. Which is weird because I don't think we thought that at the beginning of the season. Like nobody thought that this would be the problem we have going in.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, for the Dallas game, outside of the weird penalty, the fact that you couldn't buy a penalty, the fact that it goes to show that the comeback Canes for a reason, or the cardiac Canes, however you want to put it, it's just the fact that they were down. Like Dallas was 11-0-0 going into the night, where if they were leading after 40 minutes, it was a guaranteed win. And they got 5 third period goals. So luckily, 2 of them were on the power play. Thank goodness.
I'm surprised that Lenovo is still standing because it was rocking in there.
Oh, I can imagine so.
Congrats to. So we get the first 2 with Aho and Jarvis, and then Burns, last guy to get. He needed a goal. It's the last guy to get a goal.
What a snipe! What a
and
snipe!
That was
by
the
Burns
that we'd been wanting. That was the Burns that was like, this is what we got when we got you. This is what we were all excited for. Like,
if you
welcome back.
If you see the replay, like the fact that it was like through traffic, top shelf, over the shoulder where the cookies were hidden, like that's how perfect Brent Burns' shot had to be. Like, welcome to Snipe City, Brent Burns. Like that was an absolute laser. And then it was who scored the fourth one?
Ghost on the power play. Which you need. Like they said, Ghost had no shots in the first and second period. No shots. You get him shots in the third. He makes them. He connects. He's like, all right, my turn.
That was a great goal by him. That was absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, our Heiskanen hits the post. I mean, Spencer Martin had to pick one way to look. Unfortunately, picked the wrong way. He did have like a 0.78 goal save percentage. That is kind of rough when you go up. He had like 15 of 19 saved. That's still kind of a rough night.
Well, yes. But if you look
Martin
on the
Nietzsche's Martin Nietzsche's playing pinball wizard, and it's like, I'm just going to bank off the 2 stars, guys.
Before we get any Spencer Martin hate, first of all,
no hate.
Like, he's up against Ottinger, who is a high caliber NHL goalie. Ottinger had won 5 straight starts and not given up more than 2 goals in any of them.
Mm-hmm.
3. Well, it said 3 on the board tonight, and the game wasn't even over yet.
Yeah, like you're talking about Jake Ottinger, who just got an extension with Dallas and who's considered to be in a fight for the starting goalie spot for USA at the Four Nations.
So I don't even blame Martin, because you're facing. We knew Dallas is a really good team, so you knew this kind of thing was going to happen. Well, and you're against a really good goalie. Like, props to Spencer Martin for keeping us in it.
Yeah, well, and that's what Jarvis and Aho said post game too, is the fact that he played a good game, like they kept him in it. And the thing was, it's tough when you're going against because I said in a preview for the game, you have to watch out for Sagan, Marchment, and Duchesne, because that line is absolutely cooking for Dallas right now. And look what happened. That line scored 18 seconds into the game. Then Marchment gets. I will say the one Martin goal that he should have gotten was the one where it went right in front of him to Marchment, who was wide open in front of the net. He should have played the puck. Even Tripp said he should have played it. And my thing too is defense. How do you let a guy be that close on the doorstep to the crease and there's nobody on him? Like, they were all puck watching at that point, but I digress.
I didn't. Well, Ghost was on the puck, and I didn't really know where Walker was. But
that was. But there Spencer Martin. I mean, it's tough. It's tough when you're having to go against Dallas, who's one of the top teams in the West.
Yeah,
you're in a tough environment now where you're having you got Seth back, but the team in front of you is all kinds of just dazed and confused and just all over the place. Yeah, that's a tough night for him when you got the entire team in front of you playing scared or just not normal Canes hockey. So, you really can't blame him for a whole lot. Like I said, that one goal from Marchment, though, should have played it. Other than that, you had 2 pucks on the post. You had a weird between the legs situation where Sagan's in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. What can you do? At least you got the win. But, it's just –
I will say a couple things of note from that game before we do have to get to our sponsors. But a couple things of note as the number 1 Jacob Slavin fans. Jacob Slavin disrupted a Dallas rush. First, he logged a 24.19 miles per hour speed burst to get back and disrupt a pretty much 2-on-1. That is the Jacob Slavin effect. But also, if you saw that hit, good grief. And it was by the books, like it was beautiful. Like I think
it was Wyatt Johnston. He sent Johnston. And the fact was like right in front of the camera too. Like even Mike Manscalco was like, "Whoa, there you go!" Like
it fired everyone up because you see Jacob Slavin hits it. Like he's such a good player. He doesn't throw his body unnecessary. He doesn't do the unnecessary physicality. He doesn't want to draw penalties. But when he needs to, he's going to be like, "No, I'm going to take this because." you're not getting this puck, and this is the momentum we need. And it's beautiful because it's always clean and it's always such a big hit because you're like, this isn't what he normally does. And then he does it and you're like, dang. Kind of like when Jarvis finally throws a huge hit with his body. Oh.
Well, and the fact that speed versus 24 miles per hour, I guess you could say that, you can't see Jacob Slavin slow. Because he
came from literally one side of the ice to the other and actually like disrupted the play. That's behind. He was coming from behind the guys with the puck. And then of course we can't, again, as much as I said this wasn't his best game, we do have to say that Martin Necas is now tied for the most amount of points.
Yes, 35 points with Nathan McKinnon, and they're actually one ahead of Kirill Kaprizov and Jack Eichel. And I think it's going to be Mikko Rantanen's fifth by himself. But
Kucherov and then Kucherov and Rantanen, and then Reinhart, Makar, Draisaitl, and Strome.
Here's the crazy part, too, is the fact that Martin Necas is the first Czech forward to lead the league in points, either tied or outright with 20 games minimum, since Jacob Voracek did it back in March of 2015. Don't know what team it was with, but that's the last time we saw a Czech player lead the league in points, at least, or tied. Here's the other crazy stat, Kat, and this is something that's really awesome. In fact, that Walt Ruff found this, and then Brian Henkel brought it up. Well, Henkel, Walt, and Laviolette brought it up with Rod during the after practice this morning. Mm-hmm. The last Carolina Hurricanes player to be tied or outright leading the league, 2006 with Marian Hossa. Yeah, that was one Rod Brind'Amour with 31 points.
Which they asked him, and Rod was like, "Was it Eric Stahl?" And they're like, "No, he's in the room." And he goes, "Oh, I guess I was good."
Yeah, I like how Ryan Henkel puts at the bottom of his article is like, I would say I can agree that it's pretty good. I would also say like Hall of Fame worthy, looking at you selection committee, which he's not wrong. But Rod Brind'Amour, we're talking this season after they just won the cup, 31 points, tied with Marian Hossa. Like that tells you for the fact that it's like Martin Necas is tied right now, and the last guy to do it was his head coach. Mm-hmm. And the fact is the first Czech player since 2015, and that was Voracek who was leading. So I would say the stock of Martin Necas is really on the rise right now, and it's good to see nationally he's finally getting the flowers and recognition that he's getting.
So we love to see it. We love to see Necas again continue to thrive in the league, especially like he's getting that recognition. We saw with the Dallas game what happens when Aho is finally getting on board. Jarvis is back. Aho's starting to fire on all cylinders as well.
Take it.
Listen, this is what I was saying. As much as we love Necas' fiery hot season, when you get all of our guys going, you get a game like Dallas, and it's a guaranteed Canes win. So I'm still buzzing from that win, but we got to cut it short now because we got to get a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back.
There's nothing quite like watching a Canes comeback win live in person like we did recently. And if you're looking forward to getting to a game this year, go to a game with GameTime. GameTime has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. GameTime Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Hey, Bailey's Avs are coming to town here soon. Right now, the super deal for that, Section 109, all-in pricing for only $168. Again, just amazing curated deals to make it easier to find the best prices on great seats through the super deal. Again, and you get to see seats before you even buy. Lowest price guarantee, even cancellation protection, job loss protection, and more. So use GameTime Picks. Again, the curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, etc. Even Mariah Carey, her Christmas little tour is coming to town here soon as well. Get in on that. The all-in pricing allows you to toggle through and show you the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy with the seat views, and the lowest price guarantee. Our GameTime will give you 110% of the difference. GameTime ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime Picks. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Game time. The 24-25 NHL season still has that new car smell, and the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started at DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. And if you are new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
All right, Zach, I don't know about you, but Black Friday, it's November. Black Friday sales are coming up, and I'm kind of excited about them. A lot of businesses, like, they do them either closer to Black Friday or throughout the month. And when you get that deal that you're like, oh, this thing definitely won't go on sale. But then it does, and it's and it's like the one thing you were waiting on all year. Or it's like they had a sale earlier in the year, and then you're like, oh, I missed it. And they put it back on sale for Black Friday. You're like, now's the time to grab it.
Right.
What's even better? With Raycon, because with Raycon, you get amazing deals on premium audio every day of the year. But that doesn't mean they're not having any Black Friday sales. Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Far from it. They're actually doubling down on the amazing value by offering our viewers up to 30% worldwide. So it's not even a Sebastian Aho deal. We got a Cam Ward deal out there.
Oh, well, I mean, if you're talking about the Carolina Hurricanes Hall of Famer Cam Ward, I mean, you have to make that deal even more special. So.
I mean, yeah, it's a Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal that you'll appreciate every day, just like we appreciated Cam Ward every time he was in our net. Raycon's everyday earbuds, especially if you've checked out their latest model, which includes plenty of new features that make them even more of a must-have for any audio lover. For example, now they feature a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once, which I kind of love. I'm definitely one of those people when I go out for my errands to when I go shopping in the grocery store, and sometimes I just really just want to focus. I put my earbuds in and I'm like, nobody talk to me. Let me get to this list, especially if I'm on a time crunch.
Right.
And being able, so that battery life is super nice that you don't have to charge them every day. You can just use them, and then eventually 32 hours. I mean, that lasts longer than you think.
It does, yeah, especially if you just put them in their charger and just let them sit for a bit. Yeah, they last a good bit. Like, you can go for about almost 4 or 5 days, even if you don't use them. They still have life. So yeah, that's pretty solid.
But also with that shopping in the grocery store, I not just listening to music, but also tuning out outside noise. The Raycon's everyday earbuds also come with active noise cancellation. It's a feature that's a must-have for me. Whether it's grocery shopping, on trips, like if you're in the car and people up front are like your backseat princess. Sorry, maybe backseat king for you, but people are talking or they're listening to something you don't want to. You could just turn those on and listen to whatever else you want, or get some sleep because you have some audiobook or a podcast, or even us keeping you company in the long car ride. So because that's another thing, although Raycon's quality rivals some of the biggest names in premium audio, Raycon starts at just half the price of the other guys. So they're already at an incredible deal, even before you factor in their Black Friday and Cyber Monday offer of up to 30% off site-wide. Again, I'm just going to say that's a great deal, whether it's for like everybody can use some new headphones come around the time of the year, whether they've lost ones that they have, or they just start to like, they don't work as well.
Old. Yeah, they're old. And yeah, you just need something, you need a new pair. So Kat, what's the discount that we can use if we have to go buy some? Like, what's the code?
What's the code? Oh yeah, it's time to save big for the Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get up to 30% off site-wide. That's right. You get up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/THPN.
I mean, hey, you can't go wrong with using a little network deal. And, big shout out to our guys for doing that. So Hey, if you need some cool headphones, use that Camward discount, guys. THPN.
Yep. Now's the perfect time to scoop them up if you haven't already. And don't worry, if you're not as impressed as we are, the Raycons offers a 30-day happiness guarantee, so you can't really lose. Go snag that Camward discount again at buyraycon.com/THPN. All right. We love hearing from our sponsors. And again, take advantage of these deals. It is the week of Thanksgiving, so Black Friday plus these deals. I mean, hey, not telling you how to spend your money, but
don't forget Cyber Monday, man.
Cyber Monday as well. So not telling you how to spend your money, but I'm telling you how to save money. But yeah, so one of my favorite things, because we're about to talk about something that has the Canes fans been freaking out about for the past couple days.
Do we have to talk about this?
Fun note before that is, again, as we were saying, that the league was taking note of Marty Necas. Mm-hmm. The league in general is taking note of the Carolina Hurricanes, because we've had some analysts and reporters, Pete Blackburn, at their best, there's nobody's more fun to watch than the Carolina Hurricanes this year. Just an electric team. And Anna Dua, who works, I believe for
Sportsnet.
Sportsnet. The Carolina Hurricanes have been the most fun team to watch in the NHL, not only this year, but pretty much ever since Rod Brindamore became the head coach. And I loved it was mental health awareness month or day for the Dallas. And so they tweeted, I think they said watching sports reduces stress and anxiety. And I swear every Canes fan retweeted and said, "Bestie, no." Like, yes, like we understand what you mean, but no. And then we went to the Dallas game and people then kept retweeting it, being like, "Are you kidding me with this?"
Yeah, no. I
will say it takes away your stress from your life and just puts your stress and anxiety onto a team that you can't control anything about. So it's a different thing you can't control anything about, but your own problems, you don't worry about them when you're watching a sport.
The Hurricanes did tweet at someone and said hockey stress over everyday stress. I'm like, I get what you're saying. And as someone who deals with mental health, and I circle this night on the calendar every year because it means a lot. Yeah, no, like it's you're stressed, and I was stressed the entire night. It's nothing but stress. I'm glad they won, because win on mental health night is the best one for me, at least, because it's just fun to see that happen. But yeah, no, there's just just hockey in general. There is no, hey, you shouldn't be stressed. I'm like, it's hockey. Obviously, I'm stressed. It's hockey.
Oh, we were out watching the New Jersey game, and I think I started like biting my nails, like just not even thinking about it. And our friend was like, "Stop." And I was like, "I'm sorry. I think I'm nervous." And I didn't even realize it.
It's still funny to me for the fact that it's still, because it reminds me of like when you first started being with the unpaid intern, the fact that like, he had to learn real quick when it comes to like, if we're watching hockey, you better get ready for this. It's just funny to think about that now. And now it's like, nope, still the same. Stressed.
Yeah.
Stressed.
Well, we quickly realized the unpaid intern is stressed about everything else, and I'm stressed about hockey. So we sort of balance each other out, especially during hockey season, because it's every other day. So
yes.
For another note of stress, we talked about it a little bit before. During the Columbus game, unfortunately, Pyotr Kochetkov went down with injury. He was knocked out for a little bit, it looks like. So that really had everyone freaking out, because we had just heard the news that Freddie was going to be out for a while because of he needing surgery. So then everyone was like, well, with Pyotr being hot and like Spencer's an all right backup, like this is going, like, we'll be fine. Like, I think we'll just roll with this for a little bit, because it's kind of a weird time to try to get a goalie. And then unfortunately, Pyotr was a little too aggressive coming out. I don't think anyone was truly at fault. I just think Pyotr had bad positioning, honestly.
Nothing Sean
because
Walker
he didn't even fully, like, I don't think he even fully like really went to attack the puck. He just drifted outside of it, where I'm like, he should have stayed more at home. So unfortunately, he is on concussion protocol. The good news, ish, is
per Elliot Freeman, that they're positive progress. Not going to play against. He's not going to be available against the Rangers, but he should be. Hopefully,
day to day.
Yeah, he's day to day. They're hoping that he'll be back by the weekend against Florida.
I don't know if I personally want him to come back this weekend because that's a team that I don't want him to get injured with again. That being said, with the protection of goalies, the protection of goalies in this league, I don't think he's safe with any team. But the Panthers are known to be very physical, and I don't want him coming back from injury only to get injured worse or injured again. So it is being known by Kevin Weeks, and I already knew this as soon as we had the Freddie injury. I already knew this was probably going to be the thing.
He's already tweeted it twice now about this whole situation.
We already knew with the Freddie injury that Tulsky was probably making calls. I was thinking he was making calls. I thought he was making calls for right now, but maybe down the line, figuring out the goalie situation potentially. I think it's been a little bit more in need now. So our fun little unpaid intern also shared a graphic of potential.
Our fun little unpaid intern. That fun little guy.
Has also he shared a graphic on our Twitter account of potential trade targets. And
great
honestly,
graphic, gotta give him some props. That's a great graphic. Very well done. Just saying.
But it is really interesting reading the comments because you could see a lot of people being like, well, Gibson is very let me say he had Mackenzie Blackwood, Karel Vejmelka. Struggle over this. John Gibson, Ned. I always struggle with that. I just called him Ned.
Alex Nedeljkovic.
And then Alex Lyon, 2 former Canes.
Mm-hmm.
And then other, if you had suggestions. And it was really interesting reading the comments because of course people were like, I'd go with Gibson with his history and his record. And then a lot of people were like, well, he's very expensive and his term and all of that. And then
contract, nope.
A lot of people were like, well, Ned knows the system, but we also got rid of Ned for a reason. Like we didn't keep him around for a reason. He's not bad, but he
wanted more money. Like we all know the reason why he wanted more money. The Hurricanes said no. So
we didn't want him to be. I don't think we were totally wanting him to be the number one, and I think that's what he wanted.
Yeah, no.
Alex Lyon was a decent backup. He was from our AHL team. I think he's gotten a few more. The time now, the experience he has now is better. Like I think he's had more experience, and he has shown that.
Yeah, especially for the fact that he backed Florida into the playoffs 2 years ago. Thanks a lot, Alex. I so appreciate it. Either way, so he has a little bit of. I still have PTSD from the Eastern Conference Final. First game.
And then of course, Veggie shut us down the night we played Utah. So I mean, honestly, Zach was talking about him last season. He's honestly not. He's not a bad option. And then I know I don't know as much about Blackwood, but I do know he's on the Sharks, so I'm not always.
Also, former New Jersey Devil goalie. He was okay. San Jose's not that great. Here's my thing, Kat, and here's the problem I think a lot of people aren't realizing too, is the fact that it's like, what team is going to give up their goalie? Because no good team is going to give up their goalies. And what bad team are you going to get a goalie from that's going to be worth a dang to get? Because Kevin Lakin is playing great for Vancouver. Guess what? Not good. They're not going to trade him because he's their best goalie. LA Kings, they're going to keep their goalies because the LA Kings are playing pretty well right now.
I would say.
I know Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh.
I don't want Pittsburgh's goalies. I don't want Pittsburgh's goalies.
I saw someone say, "Oh, I want Tristan Jarry." I'm like, "No, you don't."
I was like, "Have you been watching Pittsburgh?" I honestly, of this list of what they put together, I would say the ones on that one, I would say, are more likely would be no to Ned. I could see Alex Lyon. I could see them because we have experience with him. And it wasn't. We didn't.
His cap is pretty good too. It's like I think 1 year for
and Detroit's not doing so great. So they might. We do. I mean, I feel like we do have a lot of leverage.
Not Gibson. Even at half retained, I do not like that contract, and it's still way too long.
I would say I could also see Veggie. I could see it.
Veggie, yes, I
don't know what Utah. I think Utah's very attached. I don't know what they would want for him.
They're middle of the pack right now. Yeah, because you can say, "Oh, I want to go get this guy." Okay, but what's the asking price? Because some of these teams want their goalies. They want their tandem goalie because Vejmelka's been there for a long time with those guys. Yeah. What's the asking price going to be? Alex Lyon, I mean, you might have a better option with him because the fact that Detroit has like 5 goalies in their system with him, Talbot, Husso, name some other goalies because they have like 4 or 5 of them right now.
I could see Alex Lyon because I can also see us being like, well, he also has played with our AHL team before. If we need to at any point send down someone, him or Martin are fine going down there.
Yeah, the bad thing too is like Black would be good. Of course, a lot of people are like, "Oh, I want Askarov." You ain't gonna get Askarov now for what San Jose had to give up to get him. I mean, you could, maybe Casey the Smith from Dallas, but Dallas is not going to give him up. He's too good as their number 2 after Ottinger. Nashville, I don't see them giving up. Chicago, no, because Mrazek, not really. I don't think he's their starting goalie. Unfortunately, Brossoit is still hurting out, so I don't see them going for him. There's no way you're going to trade in division. Like, you're not going to get anyone from this division that's going to be like, oh yeah, let's trade Daniel Tarasov to the Hurricanes. Like, he's like potentially their goalie of the future. Maybe Merzlikins, but it's like, gotta eat that contract too. And it's like, what? Like, is Don willing to give up one of his goalies?
Unfortunately. So with the news that Piotr is doing better, I don't see us making any moves right now. I'm at
65 to 75% of there's going to be no move. It's going to be we're going to just stick with the plan.
We're going to wait and see what happens till Freddie gets back. Yep.
Exactly. I because this is not a knee-jerk reaction team, and I just don't see them doing it. And the thing we talked about before the show, what's going to this is putting a Band-Aid on a short-term issue. What's going to happen when you get Freddie back and then you got 3 goalies? You ain't going to run with 3 goalies on your main roster. There's just not enough games, not enough rotation to make it work. And there's also the cap space. Let's say you go get a Vejmelka or you go get a Gibson or whoever. Now you're adding Freddie's cap right back into the system. Now you're going to be over again. So what do? Do you move a forward down? Do you move a defenseman down? And even then, those contracts aren't big enough to supplement 3 goalies that could be making, let's say, 3.5? Let's say it's Gibson. That's like 3.5, 3.2 and a 2. That's way too much money.
Yeah.
And the only other option is that they just trade Freddie when he comes back, which I doubt is going to happen.
I was saying if this was happening around the trade deadline, I would see yes. I could see some more moves probably happening.
100%, yeah.
Right. I think where we are now, and I think with how the team is playing, like I think they think with with the defense, like Carolina is known for their defense, and we've always made goalies that maybe not be the highest caliber of goalies. See goalies that have left us, Mrazek, Ned.
I mean, the Hurricanes are averaging 4 goals a game. Like we're shooting.
We always make them look really good, and they trust us. So I think we're thinking, hey, if we can get to where Piotr's back, and then we can get to where Freddie's back, the guys can handle it. Just like they asked Seth and them last, and they said, we're fine with Martin. If he can do his job, we'll do our job. We'll do the defense. We'll make sure to score the goal. Like, I think they're just going to keep writing, hey, what we're doing is working. We might not be, we might not have that. But any goalie, look at Andre. Any goalie can have a night where you can outscore. So if we have to perform, 100%. Like a team in the Western Conference and say, hey, our goalie may not be that great at the moment, but we can outscore you, fine. We can go. We might not be playing the Metro game. We'll be playing the Oilers game for a while.
Welcome to the Pacific on the East Coast, where we're having to outshoot you to death. And because the Hurricanes are averaging 4 goals a game. So we can go through this laundry list of goalies we can go after.
So
I just don't see it.
as we're saying, let's go ahead and talk. We've got 3 big games this week. It's gonna be a very busy.
You mean for the rest? For the rest of the week? Yeah, great. Woo.
So we have Rangers on the day before Thanksgiving. Hoping to go into extra things to be thankful for. And then we're gonna see the Panthers back to back this weekend, Friday and
3
Saturday.
3 o'clock on Friday, 4 o'clock on Saturday. You gotta love the early afternoon games. Florida Panthers for a home-and-home series.
So what's interesting is I'm not looking forward to the amount of blue I'm going to see in Lenovo. And the thing is, it's not even just I know a lot of Canes fans are leaving for the holidays. So that'll be a change in it. And I also know a lot of people from New York are coming down for the holidays. So it's going to be very interesting. I am very glad Rimpe was taken back to the AHL. Thank goodness. I didn't need any unnecessary concussions.
Did you see the unnecessary hit against the Blues?
Yes.
Did? Like,
yes. And even Rangers fans were like, what the heck are you doing? Like, that's not helpful. They are on, let me find it.
They are on a 3-game losing streak. 3 games.
Which I'm not super excited about because that might mean they're coming with a little bit more bite to we have to win.
Well, and also the news too, the fact that they're looking to shake their lineup up, which means Chris Kreider.
They were looking to shake their line. They were looking to shake their lineup in the offseason, and we saw how that went.
Well, Chris Kreider is part of that list along with Jacob Trouba, and Chris Kreider only has 9 points this year. Of course, it's all goals, but it's still surprising that Chris Kreider, of all people, is like, yeah, we're going to put you on the list to possibly get rid of you. Yeah, okay.
It's wild.
Yeah. Well,
they're slightly imploding, so that might be nice for us in the time being. I just hope Shesty is in a particularly bad playing mood. So they are currently 4th in the Metro, which, by how things are going right now, I feel kind of my predictions.
I guess none of our Caps picks made sense now. I'm like, the Caps are going to do nothing. I think they're going to come back to earth. There's no way these guys are that good.
Well, Ovi is also out right now, so
welcome back to earth, Washington Capitals, I guess.
Yeah, but I will say so far with the top 3 teams, I'm feeling very comfortable.
My Penguins pick is the absolute worst.
And you gave me such a hard time when you did it too. That's my favorite. Of course they're gonna be back
to back years. Just don't. Just let her make her picks. Shut up. You'll be fine. The hockey guys are like, hold up.
Listen, guys, listen. I do know things about hockey. Every now and then, I do know things about hockey. Was I right about Jarvis and Aho? Yes. Was I right about things in the prediction so far? Yes.
Except for Columbus, though, they are playing a lot better. I had them higher on my list. So I'm really feeling really good about where Columbus is at in terms of the.
Oh, because they're in 7th.
Well, they were like 6th or 5th at one point, but whatever. So we do know that Riley Stillman came up after the game. I know a lot of people are freaking out about it. It's like, wait, who's hurt? It's like, no one's hurt. They just needed a guy to come back up because they sent Ty Smith back to Chicago. They needed an extra defenseman. Riley Stillman is just a guy they brought up for extra bodies. So it's okay. Nothing to freak out about. So here were the lines from practice this morning or Tuesday morning. I know you're going to like this, Kat. Jarvis, Aho, Roslovic on the first line. Okay. Don't know how I feel about Roslovic with those two, but I guess we'll see. It's weird to see Jarvis on the left wing versus sitting on the right, but he's versatile.
He can be wherever he wants.
Yeah. He can be the goalie. He can be the goalie for all I care. Could you imagine Seth Jarvis in the net?
He's not big enough.
Hey, doesn't matter. He plays with fire and tenacity. This line I'm really going to be I'm
scared.
Svechnikov, Drury, Nichas.
Okay. They had that in the Dallas game towards the end. It was okay. Again, it was towards the end, but
Svech and Nichas, I've never really seen them play together. And I mean, we did a little bit when it was those two and KK, but even those kind of like meh.
So you know what's interesting though is that we just said man to Svetch playing with Aho and Natchez who are on different lines. Where the heck do we put Svetch? Why do we keep saying he can't play with people? That's not a good sign.
I am not going there. I am not going there at all because I already get enough from the Storm Cellar on certain topics. Not touching this one. Martinuk, Stahl, and Carrier. I mean, are we shocked here? No, not really.
Nope.
Robinson, Kotkaniemi, Blake.
Mm-hmm.
At least you got 2/3 of the second line back together. It's just now they're on the.
Well, they were back.
With
Yeah, they
Blake.
They were together all last game too.
Yeah.
Listen. I'm excited to see Jarvis with Aho. We'll see how it goes. Again,
defense is the same.
Yeah, Razovic and Blake might switch again. I don't know, but
Spencer Martin was in the starter's crease, but take that as you will. For it's a practice, doesn't really matter.
No, they're not going to put Perez in there. They're not going to put Perez against the Rangers.
Please don't.
There's no way. No. It's not going to be. Piotr is not coming back against them, so you better believe it's Martin.
With the Dalf in between, it has to be Spencer Martin. I'm sorry, I like Yannis Perez. That is not the team. That is not the team.
Sharks. No.
That's like sharks with laser beams on their freaking heads and tigers in that water. I'm sorry. There's just no. Do not send that kid out against the Rangers.
So
I don't care who it is.
Listen, with the way that it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be an interesting game. If the Canes play the way they ended the Dallas game, we're winning. We're winning. If they play that way, we're winning. If they start the way they started the Dallas game, we're going to be in trouble because climbing back against Dallas is hard. Climbing back against the Rangers is extra hard, in my opinion.
Especially for the fact that these two teams hate each other with a capital. With a capital H underlined like 17 times encircled. These teams hate each other to the point where even the fans, the fans always hate each other, but it's been on an extra level. But yeah, these teams hate each other. So yeah, it is. Yeah, you don't want to go down early because if you are, oh boy.
To the point where we had Ranger players, like when Quickie is in the lineup. And he was a very, very, very light Rangers player. And they were all up in arms against him multiple times. And it was like.
Oh, yeah. Also, Bray Shea's not there anymore. So that's another Ranger that's not there.
We don't have to hear former Rangers nonstop.
No, timeout. Yeah, you do. Jack Roslovic, because he was with the Rangers last year.
Damn it. We do have him. Okay, we'll hear him a couple times.
I think is that it? I think that's because because Ronta's no longer here. Shea, yeah, Jack Roslovic.
Okay, well, just every time Roslovic touches the puck, you're gonna hear that. Anyway,
I'm so glad.
It's gonna be an interesting game. It's gonna be an interesting game. The Canes need to play up. I feel like both teams are gonna they should play up because they know the level the team they're playing can be. And they just detest each other. So,
yeah, I would not be surprised if we see at least one or two fights in this game. And
do we think it's going to be Drury? I think Drury he should be allowed to punch someone for free at this point.
I would love to see Jack Drury just go up against someone. I think it's going to. No, you know who I think it's going to be?
Watch me.
It's me, Carrie.
Watch me carry against like Trocheck or something.
He's gonna come in and because he's ready to be a fighter anyway, and he doesn't even have the history with these two teams. Oh, and our unpaid intern says call up Pepe. One game only, just for the Rangers.
You know what? That I wouldn't be upset if you saw Brandon Lemieux for one game because it's the type of game where you kind of need that like disturber, but it's also like out. I don't know. It's just.
I do love the intro video for the Canes for the start of the games. It has it's showing all them, and then it has a fight with Pepe, and that was like literally his only little show. But of course, that's what you're known for.
I haven't seen it yet because I'll be there on the 5th for the Avs game, so I'll get to see the introduction for the first time. But this game on Wednesday, this game is going to be bonkers regardless. I'm going to hate seeing all those blue jerseys because that's going to be so loud for their goal. I hope it's a shutout for the Hurricanes. I hope we hear. That would be amazing. I hope we hear 0 cheers from blue shirts.
I will say, if you're stressed about the game and you're going to the game, as I am, if you're anywhere in the club section of like 121, 116, I think to 122, around there, there is a bartender named Anthony who is our absolute favorite. Shout out to Anthony, literally the best bartender. Go to him for all your drink needs that you'll need during the game. He'll hook you up so you feel good. Responsibly. Oh, he'll make sure it's responsibly. But if you're not the DD, go see the man. He'll make you feel better about how the game's going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, we're not going to do score predictions because predictions for these games.
No.
Well, here, I do want a predictor, though. First Hurricanes goal. Who's scoring the first one for the Canes?
Jarvis.
How dare you steal my pick?
I think coming back, he's ready to play. Like, I think he's like, even Rod was like saying, well, he didn't really practice. I wasn't sure how he was going to go. And Jarvis was like, bet, I've been waiting.
It's Seth freaking Jarvis. I mean, I'm really shocked at this point. I mean,
it was also the injury that he was out with. They just say upper body. Pretty sure it was the shoulder. It's also like, it's not like he's not getting his feet like get back into the skating. Like I think he was pretty good. It was just that feeling of like, let's rest that up. So I'm not super surprised. I called Jarvis. Apparently we both called Jarvis. But to move on, we could talk about the Rangers all day, and I'm sure we will next week. We do have to play the Panthers. We have to play the reigning champs back to back this weekend.
Friday at home at 3, Saturday in Florida at 4. So
I don't like that. I don't like that for either team. That sucks.
I hope we like mid-afternoon games, guys, because for every reason they're both early. So have fun with that, I guess.
Well, I feel like they're thinking everyone's off on Friday. It's a Black Friday, so that's why Saturday, I don't know. But it'll be interesting. They're second in the Atlantic. They're second in the Atlantic. Yeah, split it. That would be great. If you have to lose, listen, if you have to lose the away game because it's travel and all that, that's fine. It's okay.
Honestly, if you win 3 out of the 4 games this week, cool. Honestly, losing overtime on the road. Get points
also,
in
honestly,
game.
if you win 2 out of the 4 games this week, it's also fine.
Well, for the fact that we're goaltending situation, a little bit. I'd be like, I'll take 2 at least.
I want give me at least 2, at least win 2 games, at least.
Honestly, though,
and no injuries, I'm happy. I'll be a very happy Thanksgiving.
Who would you rather beat for the second win if there was only 2? Would you rather beat the Rangers or would you rather beat the Panthers?
The Rangers. I'd rather beat the Rangers.
I
always rather beat the Rangers.
You know what? How about 2 overtime losses to the Panthers? We'll take 2 points. Just spread it out over 2 games.
There we go.
2 OT losses, or at least one of them is in a shootout, and then it's like, okay, hey, we got points in all 4 games. It's just 2. We're 2-0-2.
Just feels
perfect symmetry.
Give me some OT. It feels good to like get that with the Panthers. But just the Rangers, it just at home. I want to win.
Yeah, I know.
I want to win.
Especially after the second round of the playoffs where you were down 3-0 and you had to come back.
Especially coming out of that Dallas game. Like, oh my God, you can play that way. Play that way against the Rangers. You're fine. You'll do great. Anyway,
the fact that this is the first of 4 games with these guys, it's like crap. We got 3 more of these, and the fact too is, Kat, one of them. It on December 22nd is a 12:30 start, and the last game against them is a 3:00 start at home.
Oh, they're of course they are.
Yeah, the 12:30 start on the 22nd in New York, so it's like crap.
Yeah.
So it's just just a win. I don't care if it's in New York and we lose at home at Lenovo. It has to be a Canes win. I'm sorry. I can't. I just can't.
So, yes, those are our thoughts for the upcoming week. You'll see our reactions on X and on Blue Skies.
Stressed. Stressed.
But yeah, thanks for sticking with us for this episode. We know it's been, again, it's a little bit longer, but of course we've got some really big games, and the Canes have had a lot going on. Again, the
4 games in a week, like jeez.
The Dallas game felt like 4 days. So I mean, I can't believe it's currently only Tuesday. So that game itself, worrying about the goalie situation. Love to hear that Piotr is day to day, and there was sighting of him not on the ice but at practice is a really good sign. And the Canes, again, you play like you played at the end of the Dallas game, you're going to do well this week. They know they've got hot. Listen, they've only really, like, funnily enough, they've only really collapsed against teams that are actually lower in the standings. So I think they have the potential to win these games. It just depends how they start. We'll see how these new lines kind of shake out. Hopefully we have Aho and Natchez hot. That would be lovely. But yeah, thanks for joining us for this episode, guys. Again, sorry it's a little bit extra long. But again, we have so many thoughts. I could have spent this whole episode talking about the Dallas game.
Plus I'm back, so
plus Zach's back, so we had a little extra. I had to catch up on a few things that me and Bailey talked about. But thank you so much for joining us. Zach, where can they find the network, and where can they find you?
Yeah, so for the network, it's just, the hockeypodcastnetwork.com, really simple and easy to look at. They have a podcast for every team at least. So if you want to go check them out, just go check them out on there. They're amazing group to be with. Cannot say any much more better things because they're already that great. If you want to check out where I'm at One True Zach on X. I'm also at the Zachary Martin on Blue Sky. I'm trying to be consistent as much as I can on both sites, trying to post right around the same amount of things, just so that way it's kind of in case you're not on both. I'm at least trying to keep it somewhat similar on there. So yeah, just check me out on those sites. I do have link trees on my bio where you can check out my other podcast is Locked on Hurricanes or LO_Hurricanes on X. And check out my articles at the Hockey Writers. So just constantly putting out content. So just always busy. But yeah, One True Zach on X or the Zachary Martin on Blue Sky. Kat, where can people find you and Bailey and the podcast?
For Bailey, you can find her. I was totally on Blue Sky, so let me pull up Twitter. But if you are looking for Bailey, as if you haven't heard all the 1,000 other times that we've done the sign outs, it is. I forget her name on the different socials, so I have to always pull it up.
It's Bailey Curtis with 2 Y's on X, and it's also Bailey Lynn Curtis on Instagram.
There you go.
And she also
I knew one had 2 Y's. I always forget which one.
Yeah, she also covers the Colorado Avalanche for the Hockey News. Make sure to check out our articles as well. So, boom, there you go.
Yeah, there
assist.
You go.
There's your assist, Kat.
There's your assist.
Hey, Apple. Here's your apple. Hey.
If you are looking for the SurgeCast, of course, it is on X. It is on Blue Sky. It is on Instagram. It is on YouTube as the SurgeCast. Literally all the same. You type in the SurgeCast, you'll find it.
I know the Blue Sky thing is also like the blue. It's like the name plus dot Blue Sky dot what. I will say this though, Blue Sky is
I hate
actually
how
really
long
nice.
that is. I hate how long the name is in it. I don't like the dot BSKY.social. Like I don't like that part. But it is pretty. I will say Blue Sky is very pretty, and it is very. I think it looks very sleek and smooth. I am also trying to be better at being on there. It's a little tamer than X for me.
Shout out to Wade Minter for the Canes Sky starter pack with all the Canes accounts on there. So
yeah,
big props.
But yeah, anywhere you type in the SurgeCast, you'll find us. Hit that like, follow, retweet, subscribe, all of those fun things.
Share.
But yeah, and then
just all of it.
All of it. And if in doubt, you can go to one of our bios and we'll have it linked there and you can follow us there. But for me on Twitter, X, whatever, Twix, whatever you call it, it's Caniac
so
Chick.
Close.
And
so
then
close.
also on Blue Sky, it is also Caniac Chick. And then on TikTok, it is KVT Hunter 74. But yep, that's where you can find us. Again, if you ever have a question, just zip into the end of any of our episodes and you'll hear it. If you're following us on X, then you'll also see us you'll be able to find all of our stuff in our socials. But yeah, thanks for sticking out with us. It's going to be an interesting week. Really get to see what the Canes are made of. But in Rod Blindamore we trust. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Until next time, I'm Kat.
I'm Zach.
And we'll see you next time on the SurgeCast. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye, guys.